Hello, friends. Welcome to How She Owns It, a podcast dedicated to female entrepreneurs and boss moms who left their 9 to 5 to own their time, own their finances, and their joy by building their own businesses. In this episode, I have Dani Kenney. Welcome to the show, Dani.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
She's hailing from Northern California. Can you tell the listeners all about your business and how you started your journey?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm a certified life and business coach. I've been coaching professionally, meaning started my coaching business 6 years ago. That's when I left my full-time job, and I was actually a brand new mom at the time. So I've been coaching my clients, actually women all over the world. I do one-on-one coaching. I lead really powerful group coaching experiences. I love leading events because of COVID. That's where we are right now. Like, whenever you're listening to this, in-person events aren't happening where I am, but I still do a lot of virtual events as well. And so in addition to being a certified life and business coach, I also within the last year pursued becoming a certified practitioner of NLP, which is Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And that simply means understanding the language of the mind, the linguistics of our brain, as well as EFT, which is emotional freedom technique or tapping. And we can use that powerful tool for lots of different things, as well as time techniques and clinical hypnotherapy. And so over the last 6 years, I've built this really beautiful, powerful toolkit that I can use with my clients to help them get absolutely amazing, life-changing, business-altering results. And I absolutely love what I do, and I feel so blessed to be able to do it.
And what were you doing before you started to do your own business?
Yeah, of course. So I was working for a chain of spas and salons. So like you said, I'm in California. At the time I was in Southern California for school, and it was really fun. I loved working for someone else. I loved the company. I loved the team. I had worked my way up sort of their organizational ladder, if you will. And I was managing not only other employees, but other leaders, other managers coming in and training new franchisees. And it was super fun, very fast paced. I love the industry. And I learned a lot. I really love that leadership role. And so I had been doing that for about 10 years. And when I became a mom, everything sort of changed in a moment. And I wasn't expecting that. And I think that is the case for a lot of women when they become moms, or really when we go through any sort of really big life transition. It forces us to look at things a little bit differently. And so as soon as I had my first daughter, I now have 2 little girls, I realized that I wasn't willing to give anyone or anything that amount of time and energy. And so I was ready to start something for myself. And that was when my coaching practice really launched.
I always like to ask, how did you first find your first few clients?
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know how I feel about the word lucky, and it feels sort of disempowering to say like, I just got lucky, because that's not actually the case. So at the company I was at previously, I was wearing a lot of different hats. I did a lot of different jobs. I was filling in for a lot of different roles. And I had as much as I was in the back end of the business and managing and leading teams, a lot of the customers, the clientele who were coming in and out of my salon and spa locations, they saw me and they knew me. And I read a quote just the other day. It said that your energy introduces you before you even say a word, right? And so I think that's really powerful. And it really speaks to the potency of our energy and what we're bringing and who we're being. And so the version of Dani that you see right now, like, this is what you get all the time. This isn't me like turning on a switch for a podcast or turning on a switch for a client. And so I really pride myself in my mindset and my energy. And that was just exuded kind of how I operated and how I ran the business. And so when clients of the spa, when they heard that I was going to be leaving and specifically diving into coaching, a lot of them were like slipping me their phone numbers and were like, call me. I really want to work with you. Like, I see how you are. I see how you show up for yourself and for the company. I see how you lead, and I would love to learn from you. And so that was how my first handful of clients were actually people who I started coaching from meeting them in my previous job.
That's amazing. Did you always know that coaching was kind of the business venture that you wanted to start with?
I did not know, because I mean, coaching is relatively new,
Yeah.
meaning, you know, and I learned this in my coaching certification, and you could go back and the dates might vary, but the coaching industry was really born like in the 1980s. And so if you think about that, like that's when it was born. It wasn't thriving. It's starting to thrive now. And so, you know, when I found out about the coaching industry it probably would have been like between 2010 and 2013 was the first time I ever heard the term life coach. And I was like, oh, what's that? And so I really didn't even know, like a lot of people just a decade ago had never even heard the term coach in the way that we, you know, you'd say coach and you'd think like someone who coaches
Like a
a
football
professional,
coach.
a football coach, yeah, a baseball coach, a basketball coach.
Mm.
And early on, because I've been doing this for 6 years, which isn't that long, but even just 6 years ago, I would introduce myself to people and I'd say, I'm a life coach. And they would literally look at me like I was crazy. And I felt so awkward and so weird. And then I was stumbling over my words as I was trying to explain the magic of the coaching industry. And so I did not know that was what I wanted to do. Until I really sat down and was looking at what was I doing inside of my job that allowed me to be super successful? What was I doing in my full-time job that I really, really loved? And I self-coached myself without even realizing what I was doing. I sat down and I started making a list. And a little bit before that, about a year prior to that, I had gone to this weekend workshop, and that was when I had met the first life coach I had ever met. And I started looking at this list and I realized I'm a coach. That's what I've been doing all along. And so I quickly started pursuing what it would look like to get certified as a coach, which, just side note, you don't need to be certified to be a coach. And then also to start my coaching business.
That's amazing. And how did you, if you could tell the listeners, you know, who are listening to this thinking, oh my God, this is me. This sounds like me. Her energy, it sounds like me. What would you advise? Because I always like to get really practical to advice to our listeners. And I'm all about, you know, being educational. So step by step, like generally overview, if someone wants to pursue a coaching business, what should they do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a big fan of lists. I love making lists. And I know that a lot of my clients, they love making lists too. They love writing things down. And it's really, really powerful, even if you're not somebody who likes to write or doesn't like to journal. And as I know they can't see me, but I'm like air quotationing all of these things. It's really very powerful. And it's a great way to gain clarity by simply getting what's floating around in your head out of your head and out on paper. I know a lot of times when we're feeling overwhelmed or even really excited, not even overwhelmed, but excited because we're getting all of these ideas, we can start to feel like we're spinning our wheels, like, I don't even know what direction to go in. The minute you stop and you could even do this literally for 1 minute, set a 1 minute timer. I would actually recommend sitting down for 5 to 10 minutes with no distractions and making a list of all of the things that you love to talk about. What are your favorite things to talk about? What are your favorite things to teach? And the reason I'm starting here is, if you know you want to be a coach, that's great. But there is a limitless and unlimited number of things that you could talk about or help people with or coach on. And so I would start by making a list of what are your favorite things to talk about? What are your favorite things to teach? When you're having conversations with people, what are those conversations that you notice you just kind of get lost in? Because could you imagine making a living by having conversations that you're just obsessed with? So start with that. And then the other thing is, what would, in terms of helping people, or I really love the word transform. Transform means to like completely shape shift, to completely alter someone or something or a state of being or someone's mindset or a certain situation. If you could transform someone's life in any way, How would you like to do that? What would that look like? And as you start to make this list, you're going to gain tons of clarity. And then guess what? You get to start having those conversations. You can have those conversations, you know, with your followers, your audience on Instagram or Facebook or in stories. Better yet, start reaching out to people and start having conversations over the phone or via Zoom. And you're going to gain a ton of clarity that way in what your people need and how you're here to help them. And then you can take action on that.
Absolutely. I love that. I think that's really solid practical advice that anyone can implement in any form of their life, especially as women. We like try to multitask and be perfect all the time, and we're always running around and like a headless chicken. I remember when I was choosing my degree for university, I had no idea what I was doing. My sister was just like, just go in the library and just sit down with nothing but a piece of paper and like just brainstorm what you like doing. And I think that's why I started to do meditation. And I know that you have a really nice gift to our listeners. But yeah, meditation just forces you to do that while also feeling kind of productive, because then you can be like, I just meditated today.
Totally. Yep.
So let's go back to what you do now, because I have, I've done NLP, I've done RTT as well. So I have a sort of, idea of the kind of things that you do. But for our listeners who is not quite sure what exactly NLP is and what EFT is. EFT I find so fascinating, by the way. I think it's super fascinating. So can you kind of, and even for people who think that, life coach, kind of look down on life coaches and be like, oh, what? Like, what are you? How dare you tell me how to live my life? I think this would be a really wonderful time to debunk some myths and some misconceptions about, life and life coaching and business coaching, because, there's a lot of skeptics out there for sure.
Totally. Okay. You just created the most beautiful introduction into this part of the conversation. So this concept, and I've actually had people get really triggered when I say I'm a life coach. I mean, even friends and family, I'll never forget when I started my business. You guys, I was 26 years old when I started. So that's pretty young, right? And somebody who I love and admire, someone who I love and admire who's a family friend, she came up to me and in the nicest way possible, she looked me dead in the eye and said, "What makes you think you know anything about life?" Because I mean, this woman, she was a bit older than me. I think at the time she was like in her late 50s, and it's someone who I love and she loves me back. But I think she was very confused about how could this 20-something call herself this life coach, and and she's so young. She hasn't even lived. I mean, ideally, like I want to live to be 100. At the time, I had only lived a fourth of my life, right? And so the thing is, a lot of people confuse life coaching or just coaching in general with like therapy or counseling or advice giving, an advisor. I want everybody to know, and this is coaching 101. My job as a coach, this might confuse some people or even make some people mad if they wanted to hire a coach for this reason. My job as a coach is not to give you answers. My job as a coach is not to give you advice. My job as a coach is to use all of the tools and the modalities that I have. And one of those, honestly, it's so simple. It's being masterful at asking really great questions. And so my job as a coach is to help you discover the answer that is already inside of you. So that's the big thing. And it's actually really great. It takes a lot of pressure off me as a coach because I don't have to know it all. I don't have to have all the answers. I actually don't have to have any of the answers. My only job is to sit with you and to notice intuitively what you're saying, really listen to what you're wanting, notice what the blocks are, and then guide you, lead you in connecting the dots, which in my opinion is infinitely more powerful than me telling you the answer or giving you the advice. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Like, I always say this to people. I was talking to a friend of mine who is very skeptic of, because I actually started coaching, like for English coaching for like native speakers and communication, helping
Okay.
them get more confidence.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm totally against coaching because everyone knows what they want. And I was like, do they, or do they need a little bit of guidance to get to where they want to be, like to get to their A to B, or to get clarity in what they even want? And I think a lot of people forget that sometimes you're so in the sauce that you forget, you forget
1,000%.
your values. You need a little bit of help uncovering them and getting clarity. And for me, actually, it's priceless, that kind of help.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And yeah, so now that we've debunked that, those misconceptions, I'd love to hear more about, I'm sure a lot of our listeners have heard all of the NLP, EFT, and they're thinking, ooh, what is all of that? And ooh, hypnotherapy, is that when you cluck like a chicken afterwards? I know it isn't, because I've actually done hypnotherapy before, but I'm sure a lot of our listeners are like, what is this? So take us through what all of these different things that you're certified
Yes,
for is all about.
absolutely. Absolutely. So part of why I got certified in these and wanted to be able to help my clients and women and potential clients with them, and even use tools in settings like this, on podcasts and wherever else I'm speaking or showing up to deliver some content or some powerful information, is I love being practical. I love practical strategies. And even at the very beginning, you told me you love giving your audience practical strategies. And here's the thing. Strategies are great. Practical things that we can do every single day, really super powerful. However, so many of us, and I want to know if you can see yourself in this, because I know that this is what started me on the journey of NLP and energy clearing and doing the powerful mindset work, is I love doing things by the book. I know that not entrepreneurs are like that, but I'm a really great student. You tell me what to do and I will do it. And so really early on in my coaching business, like I was hiring coaches, I was going to workshops and seminars, I was signing up for programs, and I was literally, emphasis here on doing, I was doing all of the right things. I was doing everything I was told I needed to do in order to get the end result. However, the results weren't coming. And
Yeah.
so I knew that there was something outside of just strategy that I needed to be focusing on. And that's where I was really opened up through, divine timing and this friend and that friend and this recommendation. I was opened up to the world of mindset work and energy healing. And what I learned, and this is really powerful, is that our unconscious mind, is creating and responsible for anywhere between 95 and 99.996 of the results that we're getting in life, which is a tad scary, because what that means is our conscious mind, and our conscious mind is the part of us who's setting the goals and doing the affirmations and, taking action and listening to podcasts feverishly, hoping to learn and gather information. And all of those things are great. Don't stop doing those. However, that is only creating anywhere from like up to 5% of your results. And so tools like NLP and EFT and time techniques and clinical hypnotherapy are a really powerful way to get your unconscious mind on board with the actions you're taking. And so if you're not addressing the unconscious and the mindset and embedding those really powerful thoughts and reprogramming the way your mind works and bringing an awareness to your conditioning, then you're going to be spinning your wheels for a long time, getting more and more and more and more and more frustrated, which you're probably going to give up after a while, right? And so that is the beautiful thing about all of these tools, is it's simply just understanding how our mind works. And here's the fact of the matter. At any given moment of any day inside of your life or your business, your mind is either working for you or against you. If you want your mind working for you, you need to understand how your mind works. And once you have that actually relatively simple understanding, you become a powerful, unstoppable force.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. Like, and I think people need to realize that it's like an ongoing process, right? You can't just do it one time and then whoops, that's it. Because I think that's what I'm finding out now. Like, I did rapid transformational therapy, and I got a lot of like affirmations work. I looked at how I was socialized and went back to my childhood and all of that, which was all useful because it kind of gave you that self-awareness of, okay, so this is where my scarcity mindset came from. So this is, you know, where all the financial anxiety comes from. And this is where the anxiety comes from, all of this and stuff like that. And you start to realize that, you know, it's been written for you since literally birth. You've been influenced, and you've grown up in a society that has impacted you and influenced you and transformed you, as you say, transformed you of who you are beyond your control. And the only thing you can control is actually getting a huge awareness and getting a huge understanding of how society has shaped you, and both for good, both to your advantage to being to being a CEO, and disadvantage, right? So okay, so if our listeners are thinking, okay, well, this all sounds good, I'm still a bit, you know, thinking this is some of it is a little bit woo woo. Or another excuse that listeners might think is, well, I don't have the time, you know, I've got 3 kids, I barely spend time with my husband, I'm running around, I'm trying to scale, I've hired Pauline for being an OBM for, you know, like for her business services. So I've outsourced some operations, but I still don't have the time. And Dani, you're telling me I have to do this and this and this and this. Like, what would be the most, I want to say time efficient, but for me, I think this kind of work needs time. But what kind of things, first steps that, you know, they can do to kind of deal with that? I guess this is the life coaching, right?
Yeah,
To
absolutely.
manifest the success, and like you said, to be magnetic, to magnetize and attract what they want.
Yeah. Okay. I love this question so much because I hear this a lot, and I have also found and to this day, you guys, I teach these tools, but I'm human. So to this day, you know, I'll be tempted to dive right into work, and I'm like, I don't have time to meditate. I don't have time to journal. I need to do this thing. And as soon as that comes up, I'm like, oh, how funny that this is creeping up for you, right? Those old patterns and that old conditioning. So first and foremost, for anybody who's like, this all sounds really great, and this is great for you, Dani, and this is great for you, Pauline, but this isn't great for me. Like, I don't have time for this. I really want you to stop and pause and ask you, if you feel like you don't have time for this, how is that working for you? How is that working for you? And the way that you framed it, Pauline, is, you know, it sounds like it's not working great. We're running around like a chicken with our head cut off. We're doing all of these things. We're overwhelmed. We're on the verge of burnout. Our marriage is falling apart. We are really snappy and rude to our kids, right?
This is from market research. My clients have told me this. They've come to me like, Pauline, I need your online business management services. I want to outsource 5-6 things to you because I cannot breathe. Give me my sanity back.
Yeah. And so if that's the case, I want to invite you to literally just shift that perspective. Let's reframe that perspective. And I want to encourage you to take on, because of how things are, and if you continue to go down that road without changing even just anything, we can do big, radical, crazy life changes, or we can do little things every day. And if you ask me, I'm a fan, because I'm a mom and I'm a wife and I have a business I'm trying to run. I'm more of a fan of the little things every day that are going to move the needle forward. But here's what I want you to consider, is that you actually don't have the time to not do this. You can't afford to continue moving forward the way that you are and achieve the vision that you want to have without making space, even if it's only 5 minutes a day, without making space for addressing the mindset and the energy. Because if the mindset and the energy is not in alignment with the action you're taking, you, my love, and I say this with so much love and compassion, you will not get to where you want to go when your mindset and your energy is out of alignment or separate from the actions you're taking. You are wasting time, precious time and effort and resources, by not making the time a few minutes a day to make sure that you are fully aligned in the actions you're taking and the vision that you're moving towards. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. Like today I force myself to do meditation, and I make sure that I make a corner. Like my housemate always laughs at me because I have a closet, a walk-in closet, and it's big enough, and I'm like a small person, so I'll just put my diffuser in there, make
Yeah,
it all nice, and that's like my meditation room. And she's always like, "Are you in your closet again?" And I'm like, "It's a meditation room, okay?" So
totally.
I love it. Um, so one of the things that I told you before, like off recording, is, you know, one of the main things that I'm working for myself is kind of getting rid of that scarcity mindset and kind of manifesting, you
Yeah.
manifesting ideal clients, manifesting success in business, whether that be, you know, ideal clients, revenue, profits, team members, interesting projects, more opportunities, all of that. And like I said, in this podcast, what makes us unique is we do a little bit of life coaching.
Yep.
So what would you do? I'm sure that this kind of desire of mine is really not unique. Like I'm sure like everyone listening to this, yeah, more revenue, more sales, ideal clients, interesting
Yep.
opportunities. Yeah, I'm the same as Pauline. Like hit me, Dani, with your coaching.
Yep.
What steps can I take to
Yeah.
move the needle forward every day?
Can I walk you through a really powerful exercise? It'll probably take us.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. This will probably take 5 to 7 minutes. And the reason why I want to use this particular exercise, and this very much uses the power of NLP, again, neuro-linguistic programming, simply understanding the language of the mind and shifting it so that it works for you instead of against you. And so what I'm going to do with you right now, what I'm going to guide you through, once you understand how this works, you can take this and you can apply this to any area of life and business on your own. And the listeners can do this as well. So as a listener, see yourself in what Pauline is sharing, again, because what she is wanting to shift is something, honestly, that a lot of entrepreneurs and mom business owners and female business owners and service providers and product creators and creative entrepreneurs are struggling with, right? Is shifting out of this. But if there's something else that you're wanting to shift, you can use this. And so this is a form of recoding the way that we approach some area of our life. And so I know that you said you're wanting to shift the scarcity piece. And like, I get that, not only because I work with my clients on that all the time, but like I've been there. I've totally been there too. So tell me, Pauline, what is a specific goal that you're wanting to reach?
In my business.
Yeah, let's do business. Yeah, because I bet you that would be really tied to scarcity. So even more
Yeah.
specifically, a goal that you want, and you know that this scarcity mindset is totally getting in the way of you reaching that goal.
Yeah, definitely. For me, my goal, a goal in my business is to work with 2, 3 ideal clients that I absolutely adore, and who don't, you know, who see my value, and I don't have to like negotiate my prices with them. Because I think as a service provider, you always have people who try to really undercut your services, undercut your value. And sometimes, especially, you know, as a business owner, especially if you're full-time in your business and as a freelancer, it's very feast and famine at the start. And and this is something that I'm working with my own business coach, you know, and I see this with my peers. They sometimes take on clients that are not their ideal clients because they have this scarcity mindset that's like, oh, well, if I don't take them, then, you know, might be like 6 months until I find my ideal client, or 2 more months until I need, you know, and I need to pay bills. You know, there's this scarcity mindset that forces them to make a bad decision or the wrong decision, I suppose.
Mhm.
And actually, essentially, that blocks them from getting their ideal clients.
Yeah. Already, you're giving me so much great content. I'm taking a minute to jot all of this down because I'm like, oh, here we go. We're already in it. So what I want you guys to know, and I want you to write this down, I want you to write down the acronym TFAR. So TFAR. And TFAR essentially speaks to the process we go through to getting our results. And a lot of people don't understand this. And when you understand this, you can shift your beliefs and your actions and your results super quickly, very, very easily. And it's super fun. So the T stands for our thoughts and beliefs. So we're starting in the brain, the headspace. Our thoughts and beliefs inform our feelings. So we're moving down into the heart space. Our thoughts and beliefs inform our feelings, which our feelings create our actions. We often take actions from that state of being, that feeling place. And then many of you know this because this is the easiest part, is your actions create your results. Your actions or lack of action perhaps create your result or lack of result. And so here's the thing. If you go Google TFAR right now and you click images, Google will show you lots of images. And 100% of the time, when you see this kind of circle, this TFAR cycle, the thing that triggers the thoughts and beliefs is your current set of circumstances, right? So our current situation, our current set of circumstances is what kicks off this whole process. That's what informs thoughts, beliefs, then our feelings, then our actions, then our results. Well, the problem with that is if we are continually letting our current set of circumstances, where we're at, and even our past inform that process, we are going to find ourselves feeling very stuck for a very long time. And we don't even necessarily have the conscious awareness, but many of us are like, how did I get here? Or like, man, I thought I was done with this situation or this mindset or this block or this story or this pattern, but here I am again. And it's because people don't know how to change that. So what I'm going to walk you through right now is we're going to do a quick exercise, and we're going to actually go through TFAR with your current set of circumstances. And you already started giving me some of that feedback, but what happens, I'm going to give you the answer right now. If you're like, okay, I get it, I don't want to stay stuck, what do I do? Instead of allowing your current set of circumstances to inform the TFAR process, this is where the power of connecting to your vision and connecting to your future self is so powerful. Because if you allow the version of you who already has accomplished that goal, that version of you who already has those things that you desire, that thing you want, if you allow that version of you to inform the TFAR process, that's what allows you to move towards it faster. And so I'm going to walk you through this really quickly. The other thing I want you to know is, Pauline already mentioned it, but I have created a bundle of meditations. This is actually brand new. This is something that the only way you could access this previously was to be inside of one of my paid coaching programs. However, my clients were getting such insane results from just listening to these things that I was like,
I'm so excited.
Yes, I really need to get this in the hands of more women. So the very first meditation of the 3, it's a future self meditation. So if you're like, I really want to do this, Dani, but I don't understand what you mean, how do I connect to that version of me? Download the meditations, listen to it, and you will get very well acquainted with that version of you. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I am so excited. I've been looking around YouTube for like some meditations to use, and I'm like, I saw your freebie when you did the questionnaire, and I was like, yes, I found like a bundle. I'm so happy.
Yeah, it's so good. There's a future self meditation. There is a really powerful client attraction meditation, which sounds
great.
like
Perfect
for you.
Perfect.
And then there's another one called Becoming a Money Magnet. And it's a really great way to transform the way that you relate to money and your mindset around money management. So go grab those things right now. Click the link, download those. But while you're doing that, we're going to walk through this. So it sounds like the goal is you want to sign 2 to 3 ideal premium clients, people who see your value and you're offering your services at rates that feel really good and really expansive. So probably rates a little bit higher than what you charge now or what you've charged before. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah,
that's the thing you want. Okay. And so what is the current situation? Like what is your current set of circumstances? Like what's true about this? And it's okay if it doesn't feel great. It's okay if it feels a little heavy, because we're going to shift it for you. So where are you in relation to that goal right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's going, but I think for me, it's more like, I know my ideal clients are out there. Like I know that my ideal clients are out there, and because I've had them before.
Yeah.
But my projects have finished with them.
Yeah.
So I know that they are out there, and I do attract them in some way, but I want to attract them like far more strongly. And I want to attract them for longer term projects, for ongoing projects.
Yeah.
As opposed to just, because for example, Shane's one of our clients. She's in one of the episodes as well. Shane's one of your clients. You coach Shane. And, Shane for me is an ideal client. But I launched her podcast for her. So that was like a project, like a one-off project.
Yeah.
But she's definitely someone that I would love to like, work on her business and all of that. So someone exactly like Shane, but I know, but it's difficult because I seem to be attracting them, but only for short-term projects. So
yeah. Okay. So if we were to simplify that, we're going to start with saying that like you have clients that you absolutely love, but when it comes to the type of ideal premium clients who you're working with for longer periods of time, like the way that you're envisioning how you want your business model to be and how you work with people, you want 2 to 3, but right now you are at 0. You don't have any okay, so current set of circumstances is I'm at 0, and a lot of times that's where we begin, right? Like we all start at 0, just so everybody knows. So right now, you're clear on what you want, but you're not there. You don't have any right now. And so when you're staying kind of in this space of here's where I am, here's what I want, I don't have any. It might even feel like you have this faith that they're around you, but like you don't know how long it's going to take. There's lots of uncertainty. And so from this place of I don't have any of these clients in the way, like at this package and at these rates that I want right now, what are your current set of thoughts? Like, what is your self-talk? What are those things you're saying to yourself right now? If you're just being totally honest and maybe even really vulnerable here for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, oh my God, the listeners will tell you that I am such an oversharer. But I think for me, it was a lot of like, oh, okay, well, they will come, but, I still need to keep working. I'm one of those people that sometimes I just get caught in being busy.
Yeah.
Like I do find I struggle sometimes to work smart. And I think that translates as well when I'm trying to get clients, because I'm like, okay, well, I haven't caught the big fish yet. Let me just keep working for the little fishes for now. And I think I do have that anxiety that if I let go of any small fishes to make room for the big fish, that, I'll regret it. That the small fish is gone, but then the big fish isn't coming, and like I made a mistake, and let me go back to this. You know what I mean? It's just that like that fear of regret almost. I think that kind of stops me quite a bit with just fully committing into getting these big fish clients or ideal clients.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So here's what I was hearing, and just so you know too, and for everybody listening, before when you were even just telling me about the scenario, you were saying some really interesting things. And so you had talked about feast and famine. So there's this energy and these thoughts around feast and famine. And I think as entrepreneurs, a lot of people listening hopefully aren't stuck in that now, or if you are, you won't be in it forever. But that's a really real feeling for almost all of us in the beginning of entrepreneurship. So there's these thoughts and feelings around the feast and famine concept. You even said, like, I feel like I have to just take what I can get. Like I can't be picky. I've got to take what I can get. You and even people you've worked with have said things like, I have to work with just anybody. Like, even if they're not dreamy, soul aligned clients, I got to work with them because I got to make money. And so it doesn't feel like there's a lot of flexibility there. You just said, like, I feel like I have to work really hard. I haven't caught the big fish yet, so I'm going to have to just kind of keep going after, again, whatever I can get, going after the small fish, and not necessarily thinking of people as like scraps, but we get that inside of our business when we know who we want to work with, and not just that, but how we want to work with them, the types of packages we want to be selling. And maybe it's just like a one-off thing here and there. That's not their problem. That's ours, right? But that's a really real feeling. And then what that has created is this sort of like wishy-washy energy of I really want this, but I'm going to take this. And like, I love this, but I'm just going to like kind of contract back and come here. There's doubt. There's fear of regret.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Lots of doubt and uncertainty. So those are kind of the thoughts and the themes around the thoughts. And then the feelings it creates. I already wrote down scarcity, because scarcity is a thought process, and scarcity is also a real feeling inside of our physical body. So aside from scarcity, what are some of the other feelings? Like, as we're talking about, I don't know about you, but even as we're talking about, like, I can feel some not so great feelings because it's reminding me of times in my business when it was really hard. So what are some other feelings that come up when you think about this?
Um, I think, I think, um, feelings of not getting my ideal clients, to be honest, it makes me feel quite sad, and I feel a little bit sad, and not even disappointed in myself, disappointed for like the ideal clients, because I know that I can really help them, and I
Yeah.
know that I can make a huge impact. So it feels a bit like a missed opportunity.
Yeah. Okay. So for feelings, we wrote down scarcity, wrote down sadness, disappointment, missed opportunities, which is kind of goes back to scarcity. And then one other thing that came up in the thoughts, but is also, it can be a thought and a feeling, is fear. There's some
Yeah.
fear of regret, fear of, am I doing it right? Fear of lots of different things creeps up. So now that we're in this space of these thoughts and beliefs, and now these feelings, what kind of actions do you take or not take as a result of of being in this place and allowing your current set of circumstances to dictate everything? What are the actions you take or don't take?
I think a lot of it is being the fear, definitely. I become a bit more of a pushover when I'm negotiating prices and packages. That's a massive thing. And I even say this to my business coach. I said to her, like, I keep getting into sales calls where people are already negotiating with me. And I know people are always saying, like, it's the energy you bring in a sales call, right? And I think a lot of our listeners who are service providers will tell you about this. It's like it's almost like they can smell it, like the energy that you bring if you're, you know, willing to negotiate and stuff like that. And I think a lot of people um do get stuck in that phase, especially when, you know, you don't have that many options.
Mm-hmm.
um so yeah, it would definitely be the prices being negotiated, kind of doubting the prices I've set already. It's definitely to do with the pricing.
Yeah.
I back myself a lot. I know I do my job well. I know I'm very good at what I do.
Yeah.
So it's not like I doubt that. It's definitely with the pricing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think yeah, everything's a bit fear based once they start negotiating, and I think it's what impacts it the most. And again, like I mentioned before, it's the fear of like letting go of the small fishes and freeing up your time to go after the big fishes a lot more.
Yeah. Wow, you have such a beautiful awareness around this. And that's really super powerful, because when we have the awareness around what's kind of keeping us stuck, we can shift it. We can shift it faster. So,
Mm-hmm.
what actions do you take or not take? You kind of become a pushover. And
Yeah, yeah,
I can totally relate to that.
yeah.
Assertiveness, like loving assertiveness, is something I've been working on for a very long time. So you become a pushover. You don't take a stand for your value. You know that you're good at what you do. The people you're talking to know that you're really damn good at what you do. But by going into that negotiation and not taking a stand for your prices, you're essentially you're allowing what you do to be devalued. You're devaluing what you have, right? And what you have to offer. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. And therefore, you're not showing up as powerfully as you could be. You're not showing up as powerfully and as confidently. And then lastly, so just so you guys are following along, we've gone through the thoughts, TFAR, thoughts. We've gone through the feelings. We just went over the actions or lack thereof, which is the A. So the easy thing now is the results. What are the results? Well, the results are what you're getting, where you're signing people, you're doing work you love, but you don't have those 2 to 3 dreamy soulmate clients. That's what I call them, those dreamy soulmate
Dreamy.
clients at
Mhm.
premium rates, right?
Mhm.
So you're getting results, but it's not what you want. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we just went through TFAR, when it is triggered by your current set of circumstances, and every human being on the planet is in some version of this. And so now what I want you to do, Pauline, for just a minute, and we're going to wrap up here, is I want you to close your eyes. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes, and I'm going to invite the listeners to, as long as it's safe for you right now, you're not walking or driving or doing something important. If you can, close your eyes for a second. And I want you to connect with the version of you who's already reached that goal. So whatever that goal is for Pauline right now, it's that version of you, Pauline, who has the 2 to 3. Actually, let's just claim it 3. You have 3 dreamy soulmate clients who are paying you premium rates, who love to pay you those premium rates, long-term packages. And I want you to see that version of you. If you're not a visual person, you can even just energetically feel You don't have to see it, but you can feel what that version of you feels like. She already has it. She's already doing it. Notice, what are her thoughts? What is her regular self-talk? How does it feel to be her? When you see her taking action, what do you see? What is she doing? And then those actions, as we know already, lead to a very epic result because she already has what you want. She has it. And just enjoy this for a moment. And as you're taking a moment to notice this version of you and to enjoy being connected to her thoughts and beliefs, her feelings, her actions, and her results, I want you to know, I want you, Pauline, and everybody listening to know that that version of you exists. She is already inside of you. This is not some version far away, like maybe I'll get there, maybe I won't. That version of you is already here. That's why you're able to connect with it. And so all we're doing for this is we're inviting her out a little bit more. And so let's run through this together. I want to jot this down. So that version of you who already has the desired outcome, what are some of her thoughts? Like, what does she say to herself? What is some of her self-talk?
I think it was a lot of gratitude, actually. It was a lot of like, oh, I'm so like grateful. And it was a lot of like love for the clients. It was a lot of like, oh, I'm so happy for her. Like, I'm so glad if she's scaling up. I'm so excited about this next project. I'm so like happy I get to work with her on this. I'm so happy to grow her business. You know, like it's a lot of that. It's a lot of like very client focused.
So gratitude, love, acknowledging the accomplishments of your client. And with the gratitude, part of that is even probably noticing your own accomplishments. Like, look, I did it. I did it. I know that a lot of times with this self-talk piece, it's like, oh my gosh, it's happening. It's here. I can do it. I knew I could do it, right? And there's a really big shift there from where we were before, a feast and famine, and I have to take what I can get, and fear and regret and this wishy-washy energy. It's here now, and it feels so good that it's here now. So I love that. And then in terms of feelings, you even said so much happiness. So you're so happy. And part of that is the gratitude that is triggering the rest of the process that we just talked about. Excitement. There's just this energy of excitement and anticipation and inspiration. Like, I can't wait for that next project. And I'm so excited about this. And I can't believe I get to work with this person. And in terms of actions, what kind of actions is this version of you taking, would you imagine?
I was leading a team. I already have a team now that I'm doing, but I'm doing it at a much higher level. I'm definitely more involved in the managing of the team and making more executive decisions. And yeah.
Does that version of you, tell me about how that version of you relates to her worth and her prices? How does she show up on sales calls?
Definitely no self-doubt.
Yeah. Just, she owns it. How perfect is that?
She owns it.
What a great podcast. I mean, she owns it. She totally owns it. Owns it. Confidence, no room for doubt. And then you can see now that the result is the desired outcome. And so that what we just went through is the process of thoughts and beliefs inform our feelings inform our actions inform our results. You guys, this isn't some like silly wishy-washy thing. This is a proven scientific psychological formula. And again, going back to, without realizing it, unconsciously, our current set of circumstances is what is running this show. And so if you want to break the pattern, break the loop, and create a more empowering cycle, it literally gets to be as simple as sitting down for 10 minutes, there's different ways to do this, but the way I'm recommending it is downloading my free meditations because they're freaking epic, listening to that, getting acquainted with that version of you, the version of you who already has all of those things, and then walking through, okay, what are her thoughts and beliefs about life, about business, specifically about the goal that you want to achieve? And then what are her feelings? What are those like ways of being and that energetic state and the feeling state she's in? What kinds of actions are she taking to get that end result? And that shift is really super powerful. And once you have those distinctions, as you're going throughout your day, you're a human being. And so you'll naturally fall back into letting your circumstances run the show. But when you're like Pauline and you are hyper self-aware, you can say, oh, no. I'm not going to let my past or my so-called failures or where I am now, which is not where I want to be, lead the show. I'm going to connect back to that more empowering cycle. And you get to do it in a snap of a finger like that.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That was such a great experience. I love it. I'm getting free coaching, Dani. How much do I owe you?
Yay! Just being here. It's so worth it just being here. And it's so much fun. I don't know if you can tell, but I geek out over this. I love doing this. I love equipping powerful women who are committed to making an impact in the world have tools like these, because if you're going to make the impact that you're here to make, you have to understand how you're wired. So when things are working against you, you can shift them and powerfully move forward. And that's what I want for you. And that's what I want for all of your listeners and all of the women in the world.
Absolutely. And people are listening to this thinking and just gone through all of that and thinking, she's definitely a pro. I want her in my life. Where can people find you before we wrap up?
Yes, absolutely. So I am all over social media. I love social media. I'm so grateful that technology allows me to connect with women like you. We're literally continents away from each other, but we get to have this really fun, inspiring, empowering conversation. And so you can find me on Instagram. My handle is easy. It's my name. It's Dani Kenney. I am also on Facebook. I have a Facebook business page, as well as a totally free and really epic, if you ask me, Facebook community. And it's called the Magnetic Women Collective for leaders, coaches, and light workers. And so if you want to join us there, it's a really fun place to be. And we would love to have you.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being on the show. I've absolutely loved it. And I'm sure the listeners have as well.
Yes, thank you for this opportunity.